Yo, yo. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, check this out.
Everybody in 212.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there, lovely.
How about you turn it on? Mate, have you got your mic turned on? That's
Maybe
probably why you're not
that's why.
getting picked up.
Probably that's why it's
That's
not
probably
working.
why you're not getting picked up, mate. You haven't even got the thing turned on.
Yeah.
You haven't even got the daft thing turned on.
So,
Hello, lovelies.
what do you reckon? Should we talk about that? Should we talk about the?
No, I guess we can.
No, this is alright. So last week, if you heard last week's episode, I went and did stand up for the first time, and then this past week,
Woo! Love you.
stop reading my messages.
Was that
and
your
then-
girlfriend?
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, it was.
She loves me.
Where's your girlfriend?
Oh wait, that's
It's
right.
like it's like the Simpsons. Like, no, I sleep in a bed with my wife. I sleep in a racing car.
Who's that? Your girlfriend? She love you? Yeah, she does love me. Well, we're actually having dinner later tonight. Remember the day.
Do you comfort each other when you're sad? So yeah, last week we both got up at this open mic. So that was my second time. K-Dot's first time doing it.
Hey.
And it was sick. It went so good. Like K-Dot got called out first.
I know, it was wild.
How did you feel about that at the time?
Man, I was freaking out.
Were you?
Like, I was thinking kind of like, there's so many emotions going through, I guess. And then
Yeah.
I think I was kind of like, I'm going up first. And I was like, okay, that's probably for the best. Because it's very similar to doing a speech, doing like a stand-up presentation.
That's
in high
crazy.
school.
And that's always
It's the
how it
exact
felt.
same sort of.
I want to get it out of the way.
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, they're going up first. Oh, I'm kind of nervous. I'm gonna have to go up soon. That whole thing.
It's kind of like, yeah, like doing open mics kind of like being at an orgy.
Yeah. You trying to go work up a bit here?
You kind of want to, you know.
It's a little bit of an insight to Jackson's set.
You
There's nothing
kinda-
as a joke. One of the
just
jokes
bombing
ever.
podcast. Yeah, no, you do want to
Open mic. Where is he? What's he open to? Open mic. Sign me up. Where's he at, Mike? I'm open to a lot of things. I like the sound of this mic guy. We're just gonna keep on running off jokes, so yeah, just be prepared for that a little bit.
yeah, you got called up first.
Yeah.
But you were like nervous, but like that's a good thing too.
Yeah, it is kind of like that real normal just kind of nervousness, like, I'm about to do a speech. I haven't done a speech in, let's say, years, and now it's time to do one again.
But you did have a speech written.
I had a speech written, and I also had a
Yeah, that's
speech
gotta
I was
feel
kind
great.
of pumped about.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I need to get this stuff off my chest, which made it a little bit more fun.
Yes.
Because what were you saying? Like,
Yeah.
how did you feel the second time doing it?
More comfortable. Definitely
Yeah.
more comfortable than the first time. But neither time I had any material that I was like really happy with. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I didn't pull together like a whole thing and whatever. This time, like this next coming time, I'm feeling better because I both times had bits that worked and
Yep.
bits that didn't. So now it's like, all right, I understand kind of how it works. Like you can just kind of run them off and just try them like that.
Yeah, literally.
And just
Be like,
watch-
let's see how this one goes, which I like that whole vibe.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a very cool thing. I feel like you just had that presence too. It was just like you knew that going up there. You were just trying to do.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I don't necessarily want to be a stand-up or anything like that, but I've got a whole bunch of jokes.
I'm
Let's
just
see
gonna go
what you
say
guys
them on
think
the
of them.
stage.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Let's see
I
what
think
you
I was
guys-
putting too much emphasis on the opposite. I was like, I really want to like do a good performance and everything.
Yeah.
But didn't spend any time on my material. Well, even when it comes to my material, I could have gone back through my notes and found jokes.
That you wanted to try out.
Yeah, but I was trying to do like
You had a whole thing, because I know you went up on stage and like
Yeah.
tried out a character.
long-winded
Yeah.
kind of thing like that, which was awesome as well. But I just don't think it works without the jokes themselves. I mean, but it's a different kind of comic.
But again, you're looking at like a 10-year process.
Absolutely.
Again, like there's jokes are one thing, and
I've
then
I've done it 2 days, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I've had a total
gone up
stage
twice.
time of like 9 minutes.
yeah. And you're like,
Yeah.
this is where I'm thinking I'm at now in terms of my comedy career. But
Yeah, so I've bombed twice. I'm kind of thinking about killing myself. Nah, I'm so stoked like with how it's going. It feels sick.
yeah, and I think
Doesn't-
it's kind of like I'm still trying to figure out the etiquette and stuff like that. Even when it comes to treating jokes sort of like that. Like Jackson's girlfriend's just entered the room and yeah, they're going at it.
Oh,
I said that, yeah. hey.
yeah.
Get a room. Am I right?
Mike.
Mike just walked in. But yeah. In terms of like etiquette, like is that incorrect to kind of bring a phone up there and just run things off, or is that normal? Like I'm still trying to figure out what's frowned upon and what isn't.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know. That's a good question because I guess it's like, yeah, what is the comedy scene here? That's what we're learning right now.
Yeah. Trying to figure out what is the comedy scene in Sydney like.
Because we've kind of like just tried to take this alternate route.
Yeah, we started off doing 20 or 19 episodes of a podcast. Started off not even really with the intention of being a comedy podcast. We were meant to be more of like an entertainment podcast, touching on
That
like
is insane.
that's
I
how we
didn't
started
even-
off, just talking about things.
Yes,
and then
so-
I think probably like 5 episodes in, we were kind of
Yeah.
like, no, let's make this a comedy podcast.
That's crazy.
And then we did
weren't
what,
talking about-
15 episodes, and now
We
we're not really
realised
funny.
we
We're no
love
longer
music and
funny. Now we
culture.
just talk about comedy.
Yeah, we're no longer funny. We're just terrible comics.
We're just going to dissect comedy for you guys.
Man,
So,
I hate when people call it a stand-up, like say I am a stand-up.
yeah.
God, that bugs me for some reason, that terminology. Like,
Really, I'm a stand-up.
no, that bugs me.
Or
like,
I'm
you're
a comic. I'm
Yeah.
a comic.
I love that. It
I guess comics like pretty broad though, isn't it? It could be like I do skits.
what kind
like-
of comic? I'm a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
Don't just say stand-up.
What I'm seeing a lot
That's
of.
like saying I'm a guitar.
I'm a stand-up. Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know, I'm not a guitar. I'm a guitarist. The ist is the comic. We're now a linguistics podcast. We're continuing with the theme of not being funny.
Yeah, I'm Asperger's.
You know, actually, I was listening. I went to our Instagram page because someone's got to.
Am I right? Am I right? Someone's gonna do something on there.
I was like,
Am I right?
I was like on the Instagram page, just like looking at it, like looking at the like our posts and highlights and everything.
Yeah.
And it was like episode 5,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, we're continuing with the bombathon or something like that. And I'm like, this is so funny. Like, this has been an ongoing joke, and I haven't even realized it. Like, we've been self-deprecating and like that for X amount of time now.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like, this is 21, I guess. Or
Yeah,
is
this
it 20?
episode 21. I think last week was 20.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is 21. And like
21.
the level of like comfortability and kind of knowing what is going on and everything like
Yeah.
that is insane compared to episode 1. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, we had no idea what it was.
Yeah,
Absolutely no idea.
that's crazy. Yeah,
Like we were just kind of, we were all kind of friends. We wanted to do like a podcast or whatever. And we
To
just
meet
wanted to
up
kind
more.
of talk. Yeah.
that was the reason. We're like, we want to hang out more.
We saw each other, like once every few months.
Because we always got into these type of conversations where it was like kind of unraveling this big thing.
We were meant to be more of a philosophical podcast to start off.
Yeah. It was like, well, that's how we got Sausage Boys,
Yeah.
right? It was
That
like,
actual name.
that expression, how the sausage is made,
Yeah. We're going to
which we
literally
still
peel
do,
things
I
back.
think. Like,
That's what we're doing now, where we're just
I guess so.
dissecting comedy and words, kind of like a lawyer, in both ways. Because lawyers technically seem to come from like this one group of people who also tend to be very funny.
I see what you're saying there. Do you at home see what you're saying there? If anyone at home understands what K-Dot's saying right now, just message us a black love heart emoji on our Instagram page. We'll send you a link to I guess, what could be described as a hate group.
A
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Spate.
What's that?
Spate group. We can't say hate group.
We'll bleep that out. We'll bleep that out.
We'll bleep it out later. But yeah, speaking of stand-up, I've been seeing a lot of guys doing stand-up in the streets. Walking down around like, what is that called? Like Westfield area in the city.
Doing stand-up in the street.
Yeah.
Have you stopped and listened to them?
I usually turn my music off and I'm like, okay, let's see what this bloke's saying. Most of the time they're doing it to no one, and it seems as kind of like a crazy person. And they've got their Instagram handle underneath, but they're just like, it's like Jacob Comedy, and he's just doing stand-up to whoever's willing to listen.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's sick. Well, you're talking about, do you remember any of their names? Is it Jacob Comedy?
No, I don't. I've seen two different people.
So it's not good promotion.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just they're trying.
Yeah. I also when I saw it probably 2 weeks ago, I never really thought about stand-up like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an interesting method, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's funny, like, I feel there is going to be a big shift of, like, from music or whatever to stand-up. I think it is on kind of like having a new renaissance period or something like that for comedy.
Or is it the age that we're at or something? I was thinking a very similar thing where, like, if I'm driving or something like that with my girlfriend, Mike.
Heyo. What's his name? Yeah, I said it. That's his name, Mike.
Mike, yeah.
Yeah, that's his name.
Is his name?
It's his name.
Mike?
What's his name, though? What's his name? Because it's obviously a man. And you're like, yeah, no, it is a man. His name's Mike. I love it. We love each other.
We're driving and, like, we're both musicians, like my girlfriend and I. And I feel like I listen to so much music and it's such a part of my world and everything like that it's almost like fundamentally built in at this point. And like, if I'm listening to music, this is so funny actually. Hear me out. This is a long-winded point.
Yeah.
But like we're driving and I'm like, I would rather right now be listening to a podcast, comedy podcast, or a special.
When you're listening to music with your girlfriend, you'd like, oh, I wish I could listen to a comedy podcast.
It's like I'll be driving, be like, all right, what are we putting on? Kind of thing. I would rather put on that. But I'm not going to just do that because I know it's like that's an hour commitment either way or whatever.
So you just put on the AirPods by yourself?
I did do that the other day actually. She didn't even know. I just chucked it in the right AirPod so she couldn't, in the right ear so she couldn't see. So like she's just talking to me about her day and I'm just listening to hate speech in my... Yeah, I'm just laughing. She's just like, yeah, so I think my goldfish is going to die. I'm like...
Gavin McInnes, you're so hilarious. Whoa.
Yeah, but then, yeah.
Even like with me, I guess like there's this whole idea of having pride of what you're listening to. When it's like, oh, would you listen to this song with all the windows down? Would you bump this in like a crowded place? And I feel I'm in a place where it's kind of like the stuff I'd want to bump would be a podcast with the windows down. That's kind of more like, do you know, the whole idea of like, I want people to kind of be like, that guy's cool. Let's say you're listening to like some old school Jay-Z, everyone, or even just like something pretty obscure, something pretty cool, with the hopes that someone's going to be like, oh, I know that. That's sick.
Yeah.
The thing is kind of transferred from, usually if I'm like about to put my windows down a bit or something like that, I want to make sure the song I'm listening to is acceptable, kind of like cool.
Yeah. And
now I've gotten to a point where I'm bumping podcasts with the windows down.
What if someone was driving past just bumping gay porn?
It's like, yeah, Mike.
And you saw the person driving, they've just got their arm up on the window, sunglasses on, just headbanging, just bopping to it. People on the side of the road just like, yes.
But I honestly feel there's like been a change. I guess it gets to myself in a big way where it's kind of like, I want to bump podcasts.
Yeah.
How I used to like bump old school Jay-Z or something like that.
Yeah.
Or bump like even 5 years ago, like Party Next Door or someone kind of cool.
There's no music that I feel like... Dude, maybe music is a kid's game. Because kids are the ones that consume music and they don't have the capacity for long-winded things. Such as, a podcast. Kids don't listen to podcasts. They're busy masturbating.
Oh,
They just need to get in and out.
I
And
think
I'm
it's
not saying-
changed. No, I think it is changing though.
You reckon?
That's
I don't know. There's not many. Old people don't care about new music. Only kids care about new music. Only kids and
autistic
yeah.
autistic DJs care about new music. That's the
well, artists, music artists do because they're trying to make music, but the consumers are children.
I think you do get to that period. I would say, on average, 21.
There's no kid jumping up and down, or there's no like 16-year-old girl going like, I want to go to Arj Barker. They want to go and see.
Cumtown's coming here, but I feel that's happening.
No, it's not.
I do.
It's not happening. No one wants to go and listen to Nick Mullen. No one wants to go see an autistic guy talk to his two gross friends.
Autistic dwarf do racist impersonations of ethnic minorities.
Maybe, I don't know. Do you really, I don't know any kids that are like, I want to listen to a podcast.
I do think it's changing. Again, it's that awkward phase of like, being kind of washed but kind of young still. And it's like, in terms of what's the age where we feel you lose your tap of like the pulse, like you don't really know what's going on, what the kids are vibing to.
All I'm saying
What's that
is
age?
most of the like kids, teenagers I know
My
don't
girlfriend's
listen to
16.
podcasts. They're just begging to see their parents again. Whatever.
Please, can I just call my mother?
No.
Can I please?
I
No.
want to listen to Nick Mullen doing Jordan Peterson.
Hello, Michael
I
Penis.
don't even know what Tony Dork means. You will. I don't think kids understand comedy. Kids don't understand comedy.
They don't really understand
And-
comedy.
50-year-olds don't have a vibe of music. Kids have a vibe of music.
It takes so long to understand like parody and nuance. It's something that really
Exactly.
like it is a whole thing. When you laughed at something when you were young, like you laughed at The Simpsons, South Park,
Yeah.
like probably not even Family Guy's pretty straightforward, but even like. So again, for Australians, like this sort of Chris Lilly stuff. Again, me watching like the Eddie Murphy specials. It's like that's funny on a
Different level.
on a one level
Yeah.
like straight up basis, and then you go back 5 years later when you're like in your mid 20s, and you're like, there's so many layers to this. Is why it's funny.
Maybe like comedy comes like from a place of pain.
Oh,
Listening to and enjoying music doesn't necessarily have to. So it's easier for a kid to put on a song. Like my nephew who's like 8 can listen to a song and bop to it and like request that song or be like, that's what I want to do, listen to music. My other nephews who are like teenagers don't listen to podcasts. They listen to Drake. They listen to, I don't know.
interesting. Yeah,
Like
they
a
wouldn't
Kid
even come up
Laroi
into
and-
the
It's not in their world.
It's actually not in their world.
Because girls don't like podcasts, and all you care
Girls
about
don't
at
like
all
podcasts.
you care about at that age, all you care about at that age is
Because women don't want to listen to someone else. They only want to be listened to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why they don't listen to podcasts.
Yes.
Because they're
Yeah.
too busy talking about themselves. That's
Yeah.
really interesting. Because I honestly feel probably like 99% of podcast listeners are men.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. I reckon.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm just trying to figure out why that would be. We've got more time. It's very passive.
It's outside our world. It's kind of like, it seems like nonsense, and it kind of seems like something that wouldn't really matter. You know what I mean? But for some reason, we find it interesting. Like Joe Rogan. I don't think you could have like a Joe Rogan for women like you could for men. I mean, they say Gwyneth Paltrow is the Joe Rogan for women.
Does she have a podcast?
No, she's got that TV series, Goop Lab or something like that.
Oh, right.
But her whole vibe is like just talking about like, I don't know, like talking about her vagina and stuff.
I feel like, again, as a guy, for years, we've kind of always grown up with these different outlets, whether it be like The View, Ellen, Oprah. There's been all these this medium of like the talk show, of kind of like the radio show. and the self-help show, and it's mostly been kind of by women to women.
Self-help stuff.
Yeah.
And like,
and we can't really relate to it.
you know why? Because women have been persecuted over history. They need self-help.
They need self-help.
Whereas men bury it like men.
And I think we're actually in a period now, probably like post 2010,
Where we're like,
that
men
pendulum's men, we need help.
We need help.
Yeah, and that's why Joe Rogan's so appealing.
Mummy, we need help.
Yeah. This man's got us in a base, but he's making us listen to his podcast.
Tom to 26 foot long. Doesn't make sense to me. You're going to stay near until it does. Yeah, that's a very good observation, actually. I really like that. Because even before that, it's like, there was Ellen and blah, blah, blah. There was not that equivalent for men. There literally is not.
They're literally, you had Dr. Phil, and again, that was just for a group of people. You would have like...
Dr. Phil is a raucous.
But again, it's not even like self-help. But I feel that's been around during our upbringing. And there was never really like the same for men. Because I feel podcasts are kind of like therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I think, also playing into the idea of being more online, not having... You almost have like immediate access to like the funniest people in the world. And they can like... You're sitting in on the funniest conversation. Yeah. And you feel like you actually have friends.
Yes.
Where like...
Men are very lonely in general.
Yeah.
A lot more lonely than women.
I feel that's why there's the whole stereotype of like...
I
going to the bar.
Yeah, definitely.
And
then
like
sitting with a bunch of other men that they don't like or don't want to talk to. Is that where you're going with that?
That's kind of what it is. Like the guys will go to the bar. Yeah, Homer Simpsons will go to the bar basically in place of a podcast.
You know, I think men, it takes like, you can... a lot of women can be within a society and get along and work harmoniously. Men can struggle to do that. Men really struggle to do that as much. Like, there's a lot more recluse. And there's a lot more needing to, I don't know. Like, it's like, even think about like a grandma and grandpa. If you live with them, the one that's going to be overbearing and difficult to deal with is going to be the grandpa. He's going to want that time and want that blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if it is, they both like love their family, love spending time with their family and everything like that. The grandma, more often than not, is going to be the one that is happy to be around the kids, is happy to be with the family, happy to engage with all of them in conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe I am wrong in that, but I think...
While the grandpa does what?
Just, I don't know, solitude. Just sits there and thinks about how sad they are.
Well, there's a lot more going on in the grandfather's head.
Men love hobbies.
They love hobbies.
Women don't like hobbies at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different kind of hobby, like gardening or something, but they're not going to do something that's just stupid.
Men need
to paint trains.
We need something. I feel kind of like women could be a little bit more at peace and a little bit more...
it's insane.
Yeah. That's just happy with kind of very straightforward things and maybe just like having a conversation or something like that.
Have you been in a relationship where you've like seen that play out kind of?
Oh, in terms of one, yeah.
I don't even mean I mean like a friend. Like, I worded that funny, but like any kind of relationship.
Yeah, no.
You're like someone. I don't know. Yeah.
But even kind of relationship, like I feel just me on average, I have to be doing a bunch of things. I have these things that I have to achieve. I have to do.
I didn't mean
whether it be kind of like like I have to go to the gym and then I've got to go do this one thing and I've got to do this hobby and that hobby and I've got to go to this training.
Yeah.
Whereas women are kind of like, can you just be home with me? I just want to talk. They just want to finish their day and just sit and like talk. Maybe like have some tea or something like that. Light a candle.
Yeah, that definitely happens.
That definitely happens.
Yeah. What is that? A content thing?
And then they get angry at the man. They're like, why don't you have time for me? Because the man's just, I've got my things. I've got my things I have to do. I can't just sit around talking to you because I've got to do this, that, and this.
Is this a common thing? Is this a trope?
I think it's huge.
Yeah,
really, really. And I just feel that like women don't have that same thing.
Why
they
don't
can
they?
they can read a book for a long period of time.
I could do that.
They can kind of watch
I feel like I'm achieving something from
TV
reading a
or
book.
yeah, but you're reading a book kind of to get something out of it. You're not just reading like a love story.
Oh my!
You're not doing something very passive where you're just kind of hearing about this romance in like southern Italy. You're probably reading Jordan Peterson Rules for Life.
That's
you know what
so
I mean?
interesting.
Yeah. I could never just spend 4 hours reading about a romance of like an Italian couple in the south of France or an English woman who
I'm
went to.
bored.
Yeah.
I'm like, every one of our listeners, because they're all men, would have just checked out at that point.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because it's like, I'm not getting anything from this.
Yeah.
Unless it's like, again, I can maybe watch a classic movie.
Yeah.
I find that I still really find it hard to do downtime. I'm very good at
Me
procrastinating.
too.
Very good at procrastinating.
Every-
doing like a million things to not do something.
Every part of my life revolves around trying to get something.
Yes.
Like if
Yeah.
I'm watching a movie, but then again, like we were both born gay.
Yeah.
We were both born like artists.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then a lot of like I could read a book, but I'm thinking like maybe I want to read a book. I want to write a book one day, so I need to understand how books work.
I feel that
I'm
maybe like
watching a movie, same thing.
it may be like an artist mentality that you've always kind of got your brain on. You're always kind of thinking. You're always kind of like trying to strategize and be like, okay, I'm watching this movie. What's like a song that I can use this inspiration to like write?
This feeling, yeah, absolutely.
Or what am I kind of, after I finish this movie, what can I make from this? What can I create now?
I'm looking.
How has this made me better in my own pursuits?
Yeah, my girlfriend wanted to watch Tangled, which is just like it's like a Disney movie
Okay.
or whatever.
So I find that so hard to watch a Disney movie.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Me too.
I'm like, that's hard.
But
Like that's
her
a kid's movie.
Her housemates just do that and like chill, and that's fine and everything.
I would be going mad.
Her housemates, I should say her what do you call them? Classmates, because she's in whatever.
She has a sleepover kit, folks.
No, yes, they can just chill and like do that. I really can't do that.
Just
I mean,
chill out and watch a movie.
Movies so hard to watch.
I haven't watched a movie in like years.
If I'm going to bed, I have to be like listening to like some philosophical video, something that's like comedy, someone breaking down music, someone doing a review on something, all these different things. All these like it has to be something, and it always have to be doing something like that. It's really nice and like awesome to reset, and I know it's like a valid, important thing to do to go for a walk or to blah 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 blah. Just clear your head and get that meditation time in. But then anytime that I'm doing something that I want to do, I'm gonna have an outcome from it.
Of course, and that's gonna take number one priority. It's like, well, I can't meditate because I'm working on this.
No, not even. I'd be like, I need to meditate, or otherwise I'm not going to work on this the way I want to.
Yep.
But that meditation time is in service of that other thing.
Yeah.
Tangled is not a puzzle piece that fits in that puzzle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you've got no room to watch a Disney movie.
Yeah, and I'm like obviously, like I love my girlfriend. I want to make her feel good and everything, but like we're going to compromise on that. I would watch Tangled, like, if it came to that or whatever.
Yeah.
But I didn't on that occasion. I was just like, I
can't watch this. I can't do it, sorry.
I couldn't sit there for 2 hours and, like, watch. I could, but that's not the way I'm inclined.
I think as well when you get older, like, I think mid-20s is kind of like the peak of everything.
Oh, it's so
this is
sick.
when your mind goes wild.
Bro, how is your life, like, creative-wise and everything right now?
It's like it's peak.
I feel amazing.
I'm kind of at my peak.
Yeah,
but like with ups and downs and everything like that. But the most has been going on in my head than ever. Mm-hmm. Like again, I've never really had that at all when I was 15. You're not really thinking about stuff. You kind of have ideas and aspirations and goals, but your brain isn't in like a million places. Like a human life, I guess 25 is like your actual peak. You've physically matured. And now this is where you have to make something of yourself.
Mm.
Because you've probably got like 10, 15 years until your body starts giving out. Like you've kind of worked up to this period where you're like at your peak physicality and everything like that.
Yeah.
What the brain's fully formed. It usually takes for males until they're 25.
Really?
Yeah. Women, I think
So
it's
I'm
18.
yet to peak, baby.
I know,
boy.
you get to peak. Woo! But it's the whole idea of like, that's why there's like a lot of debates of men shouldn't have their license until they're 25.
Shouldn't have their what, sorry?
Their like license.
Oh, they're...
Because
yeah,
they
right.
have like this, and again, when walking in traffic and stuff like that, I think it's very normal not to see cars until you're like 25 and to almost be in like car accidents before the age of 25. Just because these parts of the brain haven't fully developed. And also that's why you're more prone to reckless behavior, making reckless decisions.
Whereas women's brains...
That happens, I think, a lot earlier. I think it happens probably around 21, like their brain's fully formed. And that's when they're kind of like a lot more mature. Because again, that's when they should be bringing a life into this world. I don't think it's natural for a man to bring...
should be too.
Yeah, at around that age.
It's their responsibility.
Yeah. So we finished our 12 rules for life.
I think it's a woman's responsibility to bring life into this world, and anything other than that is straight up blasphemy. It's frivolous. They've got this period of time.
Yeah.
But that's literally like, in terms of
Actually.
like the science behind it,
Yeah.
women should be bringing life into the world around the age of 21. That's when you're going to have a child without autism or that's doing podcasts and...
Yeah, our
Set
parents
up
were
comedy.
definitely...
Yeah. Like my mum had me when she was like 30 and that was like old.
Did she?
Yeah. And that was like considered... I think she was considered like an elderly mother. And this was in like the 90s.
Bro, I just want to adopt when I'm like 40.
Really? You're thinking about adopting? I was talking to my brother. He's thinking he's probably going to adopt as well. He's like...
What's he... Yeah, right.
He's like, there's enough people in this world. Like, it's just selfish. The amount of people
Well,
that
I'd feel
like...
bad hitting my biological son.
Yeah, I like to have a little bit of a disconnect because I'm doing a lot of... going to be inflicting a lot of trauma. Psychological abuse, mental, telling him he's not good enough, he'll never be anything. But that just makes him stronger.
So, but also, do you think, like, I'm wondering if there's like a chicken and egg kind of situation here where it's like men are, like, where we're kind of being, the society that we've been conditioned into is all about, well, like capitalism, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, imagine if we had like a communist kind of regime and it's just like promotes...
You don't really have much choice and you don't really strive for
You
anything.
don't have to
You
strive.
just...
Yeah. I was thinking the other day about, what's it called? Tony Robbins, motivational.
Oh, like, yeah, the Tony Robbins talks.
What do you call them kind of people though?
Oh, the motivational speakers.
Yeah.
It's probably a
Those.
better word for it. But
Yeah. Those kinds of people. I wonder if like that affluent, that kind of thing is only really here.
It only makes sense in the Western world.
Yeah, where it's
In,
like
like,
you
capitalist
can get
society.
it in America.
Yeah.
And then America's, like where we take that kind of like, we have to get ahead because that's how we'll get this and that.
That's the only
and
thing
love and everything.
getting you up in the morning. Is the idea that you're going to get a Ferrari one day if you do the right things.
I want
And again,
more.
99%
Yeah.
of the people never get that Ferrari or never get that dream job, but they work towards it. If there was never that
Yeah.
goal, that little the donut on a
carrot.
string,
Yeah.
they would kill themselves. Or there'd be comics. I don't know. No, they probably wouldn't even. You wouldn't even aspire to do anything.
But like you said, you don't want to be necessarily a comic. You're not going to make money out of that, for instance.
Yeah, I'm more
But you
doing it
wanted
like
to
for
get
the ego or personal kind of gain.
Yeah, okay.
Or it's like
so
for myself.
So it's not necessarily a stature thing or anything like that, like I had presumed, kind of.
Mhm.
Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's more so fun.
I realized,
Is it fun? Is that what we want? Do we just have a different idea of fun?
I think it's more I want to do something that impresses me And it's so like corny, but like probably up until the age of like 24, I wanted to do something that would sell, make me rich, make me kind of successful. But now I'm kind of at this point where I just want to do something that I am honestly impressed with and can kind of look at and be like, oh, that's really cool. Then that's all I want nowadays. In terms of like succeeding or kind of like...
That's how you measure your success.
That's how I'm going to measure. If I'm able to look back on something and be like, oh, no, that was really cool. I'm like a fan of that thing. That's all I'm looking for now. Whether that be music, comedy, skits, anything.
Does respect come into it from other people? Is there an external factor to it?
It's been like lowered a lot. Again, probably a few years ago was much more like for the respect of others and for other people's opinions, and then we kind of like, oh, that's really cool.
Ooh,
and now it's gone to this point where it's like, if I find this cool, I'm like pretty sure other people would, but even if not, like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And you grow into that too, for sure. Some people cop that in high school and they're the tastemakers from then on almost.
Yeah.
And can just be cool.
And they have this standard they set for themselves. And if they just happen to have a good standard, but again, it depends on like the climate and everything like that. It's kind of like, I guess like the artists, or even like Andy Warhol, Basquiat, they had like a idea of what they thought was admirable or cool or interesting and new. And everyone's like, oh no, that is. But they were kind of like the tastemakers. They were the ones that are like, I'm doing this thing that's I feel is necessary. I feel is kind of cool and impresses me.
I think there is kind of like a osmosis, like a feeling like it's in and of itself that something is cool. Like for instance, in incremental changes, like if what's an example? Like there's almost like an undeniable factor to some things over time because they've gotten so good at it and practice and everything like that, and like developed a unique style. And then it's just like, you go, wow, that person's really talented and they have that style and whatever, but it's not for me, but it's art.
Yeah.
Whereas the opposite of that is tackiness, which is, I think, a lack of... You haven't grown, for lack of a better word, you haven't like created a culture around you of this brand new exciting thing where you can contribute to a society in a way and push the boundaries of what is.
Yeah.
Do you feel me? Like, does that make sense?
I guess what you're talking about, like personal taste can come in the way of that. Like I feel there is someone that can kind of push the boundaries and kind of be really successful within a genre of a thing, and you find it very corny. Like I feel there's some like areas of pop music that could be the case, where there's like an artist making his music, they're at the top of their game, but like to you and to like a large group of people, it could be considered rubbish and like the worst thing out there.
I mean, that's the thing that is... Oh, okay, yeah, because I did say undeniable.
Yeah. And I feel sometimes that can be like, this guy's done all the right things, but what he's doing is so corny and so cheesy and just kind of like played out.
Well, if that...
But I guess that wouldn't happen, would it?
Yeah, if that is the case, then that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they couldn't be that.
It can't be that played out thing and whatever. It's like, I think everyone has... It's like every product has like a timeline to it. So even that, like artists and everything would have that timeline, and then the ones that are going to get good peak at a certain point, and that's when it's undeniable. It's like, wow, that person is doing something so unique. Yeah, I feel like there's almost a level of confidence in knowing something if you are in touch with the world enough and you are good enough of an artist, where there's just like, there was a Venn diagram. It's like what you know and can do plus the taste of that time, whatever.
Yeah.
And that middle section is, depending on how big that crossover is, makes an artist... Well, it doesn't make an artist good, but what'd you say? Like, is a symbol of how good that artist is.
Yeah.
It's like a sign of how good that artist is.
And I guess that's where like the idea of right place, right time, and luck comes into play.
Yeah, Warhol was that guy.
He did everything
in the
right,
biggest way,
and he just, in terms of like the taste, there was complete overlap. It's like, this is exactly what the world was looking for. This is exactly what would have been deemed cool by society in that period of time.
I think
Just with everything lining up.
you might be able to speak better on this, but like I guess my like diagnosis of like looking at Warhol and the time and everything like that was there was a level of self-awareness around pop culture, which you kind of like branded and everything like that. And now it's like there are people doing that. They are being part of pop culture, but they're not. It's kind of like Warhol is like meta pop culture, whereas a Drizzy Drake or a Harry Styles is pop culture.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
And I guess as well, with Warhol, he was a very early like adapter or a very early personality when celebrity and pop culture was like on the rise.
He came up with the term
And
superstar,
he came with,
didn't he?
Oh, did he?
I think so.
Right.
He coined that word.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's almost like he was the
think he
guy to kind of shape what it is to be a celebrity in pop culture. It's almost like he was probably one of the founders of what it was to be famous. He really shaped it in such a way. And he was almost like a philosopher. Where he was he had all these guys, like
100%.
Everyone's going to have their 5 minutes of fame in the future. Yeah. He just happened to be clued in to exactly what is going to happen to the world.
Definitely, yeah.
He was almost kind of like a Tesla or Elon Musk, just in terms of, or even a lot of the guys who were like behind Bitcoin right now. They're kind of like, no, in 30 years, in 40 years, everything, all the payment systems are going to go through this type of cryptocurrency. And that's just how the world's going to be. And they're having all these like quotes and saying all these things about how the world's going to be in 30 years. I feel Warhol was that guy when it came to pop culture. He just knew it. He was kind of like the founder of it in a weird way. He's like, oh, I'm just in this position right now where I'm so famous.
Yeah.
I can do everything, and I'm almost like playing on my celebrity. I can bring a guy like Basquiat in, who I know looks cool and fits the scene.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
100%.
we can do whatever we want and sell millions.
This goes back to my theory. I don't know if we've spoken about this on the podcast or I've just said it, but like producers. Producers are the ones responsible for everything, and they put things in motion. Like,
oh yeah, a producer of a thing. Yeah, the producer behind it.
Yeah, they literally are the one that produces it, and they get these people who are like
Malcolm McLaren.
Who's that again?
Oh, the like founder of like punk, Sex Pistols.
Oh yeah,
he was the guy who kind of shaped. He's like, this is what punk's gonna look like. This is what's gonna sound like. This band's gonna be like at the forefront. Yeah. And they're going to be doing this, and I'm going to be writing songs for them like this, and I'm going to manage them like this, and they're going to be scary and edgy, and it's going to be, again, Malcolm McLaren's a big person when it comes to knowing pop culture. I think, again, he was really behind like the whole ballroom gay like voguing scene as well.
Right.
Yeah, and he was just a tastemaker. He was a producer who knew culture.
Someone that can look at a situation and go, what is missing here?
Yeah.
And how can we give it to these people? And then I think like second to that are the people, like, I don't know, I might be completely wrong and whatever, but I feel like these people do it for the art.
Yeah. And again, Kanye West is one of those guys, but he happened to kind of go a bit too crazy. He was like
he was a
tastemaker.
He's not well spoken and reserved enough.
He was almost there. He was almost at the level of Warhol. He was just too in his head.
He became a victim of the crazy kind of.
Yeah, I don't think he was. Oh yeah, 100%. He could have done everything, and he kind of did. Like he shaped what fashion would kind of look like, and he influenced like high fashion in such a way, and even like the shoe.
Yeah.
For like a 10-year period of like what a shoe looks like, whether it be like Adidas, Nike, all the shoes were based and branded off his Yeezy aesthetic. And everyone's kind of wearing a shoe which derives from his look.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing as well. Like, so, like, yeah, Kanye could have been a Warhol, but was it Britney?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, this is, which is
Yeah, you're either a Warhol or you're a Britney. Like, you get lost in the sauce. Like, it's such
Yeah.
a played out term.
you're
but
either
it's so
you're
real.
either like serving the sauce,
Yes.
and you're the one like putting the ingredients in,
Yeah.
or you get lost in the sauce,
And you end up like Britney Spears. You end up like Kanye West. You end up like, oh, you could just name a million people. Celebrities just going off
Yeah.
the rails.
yeah, and falling kind of victim to that. I think something that's really cool to think about is like what's a very strong like cultural phenomena is like live shows.
Mm.
People that organize festivals.
Yeah.
And say you run Coachella,
Yeah.
the like however many hottest acts,
Mm.
and you go, you know what, 2021 is about this.
But
you
I
know what I
guess-
mean? Like Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, but I
And
guess
you've got-
Coachella nowadays, and I feel what it means to be a producer nowadays, for the most part, can be done by a group and a team.
But it's like everything can be done. Like a band can be done. But to be done well, it has to be done well.
Do you
There's-
think kind of like there has to be one person there who's kind of got it?
Not even. It's just like, if it is, it is.
Mm.
This is probably like above my pay grade. I probably don't even understand what I'm trying to say properly. I'm sure I will soon,
Yeah.
but like,
Keep on talking. And I'm going to keep talking till I do. Yeah.
but there is that, like, things have to be amazing, kind of like, they are amazing. It's like an a priority
Yeah.
thing. Like, they are dependent on themselves. Like, if it is the biggest thing, yeah, there's like a harmony in life, I think, almost like right time, right place. Like you said, like Warhol was Warhol.
Yeah.
These people that are kind of like setting up festivals and whatever, they are, yeah, I don't know. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. Like Fire Festival is a fabrication, it's a fake thing, right?
Yeah.
But then to be that, to have buzz, you cannot fake buzz.
No, of course.
Maybe that's kind of what it is. Like everyone in the culture is talking about that one thing, and you know it. It's like they knew, you know, an artist is about to blow up before the public does.
Because there's a buzz. Yeah, there's
a buzz. Yeah,
And people are acting like, oh, this is the real deal. This is it. Like
all of a
this
sudden
is
it's in excess.
Yeah.
And they are the biggest band in the world
Yeah.
after performing together for like 10 years. It's just like all of a sudden they are that.
And it is kind of like the people, for the most part, that choose that. And it's funny, I remember, like, again, it's the whole idea when someone's about to blow. I remember being, like, in high school, early high school, and I was kind of like, there's this guy in, like, a pink shirt, and he's got this aesthetic that's unlike anything I've seen.
Yeah.
And it's like golf, and he's got this gap in his teeth. And I was like, why are there so many photos of this guy, this, like, Tyler, the Creator guy? And I was like, why is he kind of everywhere? Why is he all over Tumblr? Who is this guy? And why is everyone talking about him? Why does he look so different? And why is he so attractive? Because for that moment, he was like about to blow up. And he was very legit. And again, he was, one of these tastemakers in a big way. When it came to, like, he put brands like Supreme on the map, skating culture. Like the sound kind of like this new generation of, like, I guess, youth and punk culture.
Yeah.
And it was all from him. It was all from this guy's brain. And when it's so real and so legit, that's kind of, it usually comes from one person. And again, it happened a few years later with, like, XSS Tentacion and the start of, like, the SoundCloud wave, where it's kind of like, I've got this big energy, this big personality, and I'm wanting to do something. Like, I've got, like, a mission, and I want to have this aesthetic and this way of dressing and this way of making music.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
It's like you're standing in the ocean, right? And you're looking out of the ocean, and it's flat. And then it's like there is constantly a wave coming towards you, but there's going to be a point in your brain where you look at that flat ocean, and it rises to a point, and you go, "Oh, that's a wave."
Yeah.
You identify what it is. And then
The actual idea of a wave.
literally like the physical object is like coming at you, and it's going to get to a point where you go, that is a wave. And then it comes, it crashes over the top of you and rolls, and then it's behind you. And it turns into nothingness because it's just like taken for granted. It is in the public zeitgeist.
Yeah.
It just is. And then the next wave is coming, and for a lot of the time it's flat.
And I'm thinking it must happen.
It's
It can
flat
only
at the
happen once
moment,
every 5
almost.
years. It is flat at the moment. There isn't a wave right now. People are kind of waiting.
We've just been hit by that last
We've
wave.
been hit by the last one, which I would almost characterize by SoundCloud, very aggressive hip hop. Like XXXTentacion was the biggest kind of figurehead of that wave.
Maybe there's something to be said as well for it being a retroactive thing. You have to be able to look at it once it's passed. No, you do feel it when it's happening though as well. You do
and you
feel
really,
it when it's happening.
yeah. But you can't look at it. Oh, you probably will in like the next wave because I think people are so aware of it now. Because again, I always talked about these figures. Like I feel Eminem was one of the big ones. Tyler the Creator, XXX. Like there are these kind of people who have a big impact on culture.
Where is culture going and everything? I think maybe, yeah, the new wave of like comedy and everything, because it all works together across different mediums and everything like that.
Yeah.
And maybe the next one coming will be what? Like
We don't, and that's the thing. I feel it's probably going to come in the next year or two, but we're due for one.
Yeah.
We're due for like a new wave. And again, when that, by that I mean way of dressing, music, way of acting, media,
Lingo, what you should think is cool.
Yeah.
And everything like that.
Because right now we're waiting. And I feel like the internet's made everyone so self-aware and so aware of everything that it's awkward to be in this period of waiting for the next thing to come. Because I think up
fill your time
until
with something,
or more that like we're aware. I feel we haven't been aware since Warhol. I feel there's probably been a thing that's come every 5 years and shaped culture and again, I'm trying to figure out like a time period or whatever, but there could have been like 75, 80, there was a thing, 95, there was a thing, 2000s, there was a thing, 2005, 10, 15, every 5 years there's a thing. But now with the internet, we're so aware of like what this thing is, and everyone can kind of try to do this thing, that it's going to change completely.
Yeah, it kind of like goes from being... It's like different dimensions almost. So the first one is just a dot, and then the next one is a line.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to... Again, I'm so scat today. Like, none of this is really making sense, maybe. Maybe these people
I know,
understand
maybe they see what we're talking about.
I don't even... I understand what I'm talking about. It's just so hard to express.
Yeah, no, it is, because it's really... it's a deep topic. It's a very specific topic.
I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is like it goes from being like... So it goes from being a dot, and then there's a line up. So it's like, oh, okay, I understand the relation between these two things. And then it goes from width or length, and then there's like a width element to it as well. And it's like the whole culture can move and becomes thicker in a certain way.
Yeah.
And then there's a third level of depth. It's like a 3D cube kind of thing. And then that's where we're at the moment. We understand that 3D cube so well that it's about to turn into the next
It's about to turn into the next thing.
Yeah, and it's like going to be ridiculously like complex and hard to quantify and understand.
Yeah. Because again, I feel like at least for the last 20 years, like hip-hop, urban culture has been a really big thing for being that wave.
Yes.
It has to fall within this.
Yeah.
And I guess probably before the 2000s, it would have been rock. Probably from, or even longer, like 50? And then I think it would have been jazz probably before that. Like from the 50s or something to the 90s to 2000s, it's always been rock. And that went from rock to hip hop.
You know who's someone we're missing out on here? Steve Jobs. Just transform technology. Let's put that in everyone's home and make that part of culture.
What are you talking about?
Just as someone that was like an innovator and like changed what culture was. in a
Oh,
massive
you're
way.
right. He even did it on a greater level than that. Yeah. I guess he plays a part, but again, I feel you have to have like the youth.
You have to have the youth on your side.
Yeah, the youth kind of dictates what the culture's going to be, what's cool and what's trendy.
Yeah.
How people dress. And again, even it goes down to how people dress,
Yeah.
how people talk to each other, what kind of music they listen to.
Yeah.
And you think it's like a Western thing, but it isn't.
Yeah.
You'd go to like the darkest depths of like West Africa, and you would find people that talking this way, like, what's good? Yo, what's up? And they're kind of like talking with slang. Or you go to Russia, and their kids that are kind of dressing this certain way, listening to this certain type of music, and they want to kind of rap.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, worldliness is cool as hell right now. Like if you were an artist and you could like find a way to embrace every part of the world,
Yeah.
that's I think a massive thing because people.
Or more the whole world could embrace you.
Yeah, well, it
Yeah,
works. It
yeah.
works hand in hand, I guess. Yo, we might have to wrap.
Yeah, we'll wrap this first one.
I'm gonna feed.
Get a little bit of feed in.
Yeah,
We're
alright,
going to get a
well,
little bit of feed in. We're breaking that sausage down.
Yeah, interesting episode. Actually.
Yeah. Literally just talking about culture. I think it's such a good topic and so necessary. But it's
Yeah.
fascinating. I feel we are literally at this point of life, and just when it comes to culture, that we're aware of what it is. Like the 90s look like this, the 80s look like this, 70s look like this, 60s, 50s. And it's really kind of breaking that down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, the key things, it usually stems from music. And then I feel that travels into fashion. That travels into like ways of speaking. I feel that black culture, black African American culture, has been one of the most significant things in the past few hundred years on like what's shaped, what's considered cool, trendy, and fashionable.
Yeah, definitely.
Bringing up just like rock to jazz, R&B, hip hop, house music, techno, electronic music.
So for the first like time in Sausage Boys history, the answer was not the gays.
No.
Good night,
No.
everybody.